Hello and welcome to Forbest Academy, and welcome back to our AMC 10-12 preparation videos for the 2021 contest. This week we are breaking down 5 AMC 10 past paper questions, and today we are going to be looking at some probability. So today's question: a bag contains 2 red beads and 2 green beads. You reach into the bag, pull out a bead, replacing it with a red bead regardless of the color you pulled out. What is the probability that all the beads in the bag are red after 3 such replacements? So essentially we're being asked, we've got 3 events, event 1, 2, and 3, and we know that at the end of this, we need to have replaced both 2 green beads and replaced with a red bead. So what a lot of people would do here, and we'll run through it and I'll explain why it doesn't work, is a lot of people will go, okay, so we need a green, and a red, and I'm going to have 3 variations of that. I'm going to have green, green, red, red, green, 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 red, green, and just work out this probability and be fine with it and go, okay, so that's going to be a half, that's going to be a quarter, and then that's going to be certain, that's going to be 1. So the probability of that is going to be 1 over 8, and it's going to be that 3 times. Now the problem with this is because we're replacing with a red bead every time, which means these events are not independent of each other. They are completely conditional on the order in which we do it. So when we take out that red bead, the probability is changing because we are adding a red bead in. Because we're adding a red bead, the probability is constantly changing throughout. If we weren't adding a red bead, then that would be fine, because the probability of the number of beads in the bag isn't going to change. But because we're replacing with a red bead every time, we need to look at all 3 variations. So we need green, green, red, which we worked out to be 1 over 8. But if we look at another possibility, say green, red, green, so probability of pulling out the green to begin with is 1 over 2, because there's 2 out of 4 greens. Probability of pulling out a red at this point is going to be 3 over 4. Remember, in that first example, when we got to the red, the probability was certain. So we can see how pulling that red out earlier has changed its probability. And the probability of the green was again 1 over 4. So our 2 probabilities for the greens don't change, but because we're changing the number of red beads in the bag, depending on when we pull out that red bead, that's what's making this very conditional. That's what's making it more difficult to work out. So this is going to give me a probability of 3 over 32. And then our last possibility is what happens if we drew the red one first and then our 2 greens. So green and then green. So probability of pulling the red is a half. Probability of pulling the green is a half. Probability of pulling the second green is a quarter. So probability of those all together, half times quarter. So I did rush over this bit actually. When we're working out the probability of 3 events happening in a row, probability of 1, 2, and 3, we multiply those probabilities together. So 1/2 multiplied by 1/2 multiplied by 1/4 gives me 1 over 16. So we're working out probabilities. If we're working out the probability of this and this and this, we multiply those probabilities together. And now we've got our probabilities of green, green, red, our probability of green, red, green, and our probability of red, green, green. It can be this, or this, or this. So for those, we will add the probabilities together. So to add these together, we need to convert to common denominator. So for this first fraction, we're going to make that 1 over 8 is going to become 4 over 32. And 1 over 16 is going to become 2 over 32. So 4 over 32 plus 3 over 32 plus 2 over 32 gives me 9/32. So the thing to look out for here is the probability changing? Is that probability going to change depending on when an event occurs? So if we hadn't been replacing with a red, then the probabilities wouldn't have been changing constantly, and we could have done this as just work out 1 and multiply by 3. But because we were changing the probability of pulling out a red, we had to look at all 3 different variables, or all 3 different possibility outcomes, so we could get our total probability. Anyway, thanks very much for watching this video today. If you found it useful, please like and subscribe our channel. And don't forget to tune in for the rest of the week for more AMC 10 breakdown videos. Thanks very much for watching. Look forward to seeing you again tomorrow for our last video of the week.